India, the land that we call our own, filled with youth who have opinions. And it is time that we started listening to them. Welcome to India at 75. Let us meet our speakers today, shall we?
Farming looks mighty easy when your plow is a pen and you're 1,000 miles away from the cornfield. Former President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Hello everyone, this is Aditya Pradhan from Grade 8 Kids International School. Before we start, if you can remember, I quoted a famous quote from former President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and it correctly explains what we perceive about farming. We think it's an easy task. We have to sow the seeds, water the plants, and harvest it, right? But it is definitely wrong, as the farmers have to wake up early in the morning to perform labor-intensive tasks, and then they finally have the time to harvest. But then they reach at the stage of dilemma where they have to find the perfect place to sell their goods at the right value. Without agriculture and the hard work of the farmers, there will be no food, which leads to starvation and death. In the past, there have been situations such as the Great Bengal Famine, Chalisa Famine, the Dojibara Famine, which were all caused by droughts and other leading factors. Even after these great famines in the recent past, India has experienced 2 consecutive years of drought in 2014 to 2015. With this drought, India has also experienced global warming, which leads to extreme seasonal changes, insurance that fails to pay, and unfulfilled irrigational promises made by the government, with marketing procedures that are getting ignored. This all has led to India's downfall from second place in 2018 to fourth place in 2020 in the world's most agricultural country. With the famous saying Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan by Lal Bahadur Shastri, let us skim through the statistics of the recent years. 58% of this nation is currently practicing agriculture, but only 18% of the total GDP is devoted to it. This makes this sector unnecessarily unorganized and unattended. How can we as a nation develop this important sector? Through planning schemes and raising awareness, we can make India an agriculturally developed nation. The Government of India has introduced some schemes such as the KCC, Kisan Credit Card, PMKSY, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, PKVY, Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, NMSA, National Mission of Sustainable Agriculture, and the ENAM, National Agricultural Market. Although these are beneficial, half of the nation really has no idea about these schemes. We must raise awareness about these schemes in such a way that the poorest of the poor farmers are aware. We must also teach them how to correctly use agricultural practices by making organic farming and sustainable farming. Former farmers were uneducated, but nowadays educated farmers are unskilled, but have the innovative ideas such as hydro farming, interrogated farming, and organic farming, etc. We have to train them to use these resources to the best of their abilities. My vision for India in the next 75 years is to be number 1 in agriculture and agricultural good exporting country around the world. Let us stand together and make our nation proud again. I would like to end off with a quote from M.S. Swaminathan. If agriculture goes wrong, nothing will have a chance to go right. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Namaste. I am Asit Sabha of grade 9 from Kendra Vidyalaya number 1 CPCRI Kasarpur. So today I am here with a talk about the topic Vaccine Maitri, how India had to put a check on COVID-19 across the world. COVID-19 or coronavirus is an infectious disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most of the people who fall sick from COVID-19 experience mild to moderate symptoms and recover without special treatments. However, some of them fall seriously ill and require medical attention. How does it spread? The virus spread from an infected person's mouth or nose in a liquid particle with a sneeze, cough, or speak. COVID-19 has made a change in the way of life, interaction, and work with others like no other diseases. Till 5th May 2021, 154 million cases and 3.2 million deaths were reported globally. As the virus is spreading rapidly, India has made measures of tracing, tracking, and placing the person in quarantine is becoming a difficult task with severe pressure on public health system. India has also imposed restrictions such as weekend curfew, night curfews, shutting down of public transport, lockdown, etc. In addition to the behavioral measures of prevention for COVID-19, the biological measure of prevention of COVID-19 of vaccines has also been available. Vaccine Maitri. Vaccine Maitri is an initiative program which was undertaken by the Indian government to provide vaccines across the world. India has started this program on 20th January 2021. By May 2021, India has delivered 66.3 million vaccines across the country of the world. And also, of these 10.7 million doses were gifted freely to 47 countries. The remaining 54 million were supplied by the Serum Institute of India. India has developed Covaxin indigenously with Covishield and Sputnik V vaccine. At last, I would like to conclude my talk with these few words. By getting vaccinated, you are protecting yourself and making a difference between your loved ones. Not only by vaccination, always wear a mask when you are outside, wash your hands frequently and thoroughly with soap and water, and maintain a minimum distance of 6 feet from others. A big salute to the healthcare people, the government and the policemen who protected us and who is still fighting against it. Together, we will win this fight against COVID-19. Thank you and have a nice day. Stay safe, stay home, stay happy and get vaccinated to COVID-19.
Good morning. I'm Ashwini Ranjit of class 9D from KVN in Alva, here to speak on Paralympics and everything else that has been a source of hope for the disabled in India. I thank the New Indian Express to giving me this opportunity to speak. The Paralympic Game or Paralympics, also known as the Game of Paralympiad, is a perennial series of international multi-sport events involving athletes with a range of physical disabilities, including impaired muscle power, impaired passive range of movement, limb deficiency, leg length difference, short stature, hypotonia, athletosis, ataxia, vision impairment, and intellectual impairment. There are Winter and Summer Paralympic Games, but since the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, South Korea are held almost immediately following the respective Olympic Games. All Paralympic Games are governed by the International Paralympic Committee. Now, in India, the Paralympic Games are organized in parallel with the Olympic Games, while the IOC recognized Special Olympic World Games include athletes with intellectual disabilities and deaf which include the deaf and India made its Summer Paralympic debut at the 1968 competed against in 1972 and then was absent until 1984 Games. The country has participated in every edition of the Summer Games since then. It has never participated in the Winter Paralympic Games. The practice of sport is a human right. Every individual must have the possibility of practicing sport without discrimination of any kind and in the Olympic spirit, which require mutual understanding with the spirit of friendship, solidarity, and fair play. Any form of discrimination with regard of country of a person or on grounds of race, religion, politics, gender, or otherwise is incompatible with best to the Olympic movement. Individuals with development disabilities and their family participate in the design of and have access to the culturally competent needed community services, individualized supports, and other forms of assistance that promote self-determination, independence, productivity, inclusion, and inclusion of facet community life. India with the disabled. Only a person having disabled certificate is entitled to railway concession in India. There are 4 different forms of railway concession. One must fill out the form according to the disability mentioned in the disability certificate. The person with disability and his or her escort are both entitled to railway concession. People with a disability certificate are also entitled to bus concession. This concession is available only in Uttarakhand. Roadway buses. The disabled person and his or her affiliate are both entitled to the facility. And in the coming years, I guess the facility would be spread all over the Indian states. The Nirmana Health Insurance is a scheme by the National Trust to provide affordable health disabilities to persons with autism, cerebral palsy, mental retardation, and multiple disabilities. The scheme of the state disabled pension is known as Viklang Bharan Poshan Anudan and given to the people with disabilities for their maintenance. The future of state as well as Indira Gandhi National Disability Pension Scheme. Total amount of pension is rupees 800 per month. There are three reservations in the government sector for jobs for the person with disability and percentage. 1% for the blind and person with poor vision, and 1% for the person with hearing disability, 1 for the person with a physical disability or with cerebral palsy. India would develop in the coming years. India would provide more opportunity of the disabled. Disability need not be the obstacle to success. Let them fight. With this, I conclude. I thank you and have a nice day.
Mahatma Gandhi once said, "What is needed to make democracy function is not knowledge of facts but right education." Hello everyone, I'm Bia Samhita of class 9 from 7th Day Adventist High Secondary School, Kallur. Human being is considered to be a social animal and right education plays a vital role in his or her life. In developing a country like India, schools are meant for right education. A good quality education for their children is every parent's dream as they see it as a ladder to a better life. And not very long ago, government schools in India helped them get there. Several luminaries from various walks of life were in fact products of these schools. But it is no secret that Indian government schools are up against enormous odds. By government's own admission, schools grapple with teacher absenteeism, high dropout rates especially among girls, and poor teacher training. An old dilapidated building with brick walls and minimal essential furniture facilities and dirty toilets, a playground with broken or no equipments and unkept children running around kicking clouds of dust which almost never settles down during the entire school day. This was the image that came to most of our minds when we thought of a government school previously. And in a country where majority of children attend school, this dismal image represents disappointing outcome. A staggering 90% of young children in India rely on government educational facilities, but due to poor financial support, these schools struggle to remain open and to update their facilities to match up with the number of students. Reformation is another word for transformation. It is a sign of development, and so is in the case of government schools in India. Slowly and steadily, they are reforming. The government education system in India has seen rapid changes in the last decade. The emergence of blended learning, online classes, and experiential learning have changed how students are interacting with the educational content. Improved punctuality among teachers who now take greater interest in newer pedagogical techniques being deployed. Increased attendance and enthusiasm in schools as well as teacher training sessions. Higher participation from parents in parent-teacher meeting owing extensive community mobilization efforts are some of the positive changes. Many parents who faced financial problems due to COVID-19 have shifted their children from private schools to government schools. The primary reason for the same is the high fees being charged by private schools. Many other parents feel that their children will get a better education and many other facilities in government schools, and that is the reason why they are making the shift. In the past, society discussed about the closure of government schools, but now that they've become the centers of excellence, the students joining government schools have increased. Many students joined government schools in the past 3 years. The journey of government schools from poor condition to now centers of excellence has just begun, but they have definitely traveled a long way from where they were years back, and now the entire system is only looking upwards. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Prevention is better than cure. Hello all, myself Inu of grade 9 from Kendra Vidyalaya number 1 CPCRA Kasaragod. Here before you to speak a few words on the topic from largest generic drugs exporters to exporting hydroxychloroquine. How India can cure the world's medicine deficit. Before moving on, let us first know about hydroxychloroquine. Plaquenil or hydroxychloroquine is a prescription drug that's been around since the 1940s. Doctors first used it to treat malaria. Hydroxychloroquine is an anti-malarial drug. It treats malaria by killing the parasites that cause the disease. Today, you may have heard it can treat COVID-19. Now, what is hydroxychloroquine made up of? Hydroxychloroquine sulfate tablets contain 200 mg hydroxychloroquine sulfate, equivalent to 155 mg base, and are for oral administration. Now let's move on to a news report. New Delhi. India will export anti-malarial drug hydroxychloroquine, high in demand globally, only to foreign governments and not to private companies, as the product is under prohibited or banned category of exports. Although exports of this medicine is completely banned, India has decided to export this anti-malarial drug in sync with its global commitment to deal with the coronavirus pandemic. Hydroxychloroquine continues to be a prohibited item. Private to private company or a domestic exporter to foreign importer trade is banned. The procedure which the government is adopting is to help countries which are in dire need or which are traditionally dependent on India for this medicine. On March 25, India banned export of hydroxychloroquine with some exceptions in the midst of views in some quarters that the drug could be used to fight COVID-19. On April 4, it completely banned the exports without any exception. Hydroxychloroquine is an old and inexpensive drug used to treat malaria. India is the largest producer and exporter of the drug globally. India manufactures 70% of the world's supply of hydroxychloroquine. India's decision to selectively allow export of hydroxychloroquine to countries badly affected by coronavirus as well as its neighbors in South Asia is a welcome step. While the US threat was certainly a factor in this, India would have also realized that by allowing export, even selectively, it would be recognized as a globally responsible stakeholder in the fight against the pandemic. India's move brings a lot of relief in these countries. I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you, Jay.
As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the first wealth is health. We have 75 glorious years of freedom, and our healthcare system has grown in leaps and bounds. And yes, as you've rightly guessed, we have much more to do. Hello friends, my name is Joanna Anthony from the Army Public School Bolaram, Secunderabad. 75 years ago, we had only 7,000 hospitals. We now have 70,000 hospitals. We have almost double life expectancy at birth. If you can't afford it, the most modern care globally is available in parts of our great nation. Care in the apex government, medical institutions, and many private hospitals is of the highest quality. However, there are inequalities. Some states, such as Kerala, have health indices on par with Western countries, but some others are as bad as sub-Saharan Africa. It just takes an illness to push low-income families below the poverty line. The WHO estimated in 2018 the government health expenditure is only 0.96% of the GDP, far less than the recommended 3%. While there is extensive government health infrastructure, it is generally poorly equipped to tackle our challenges. On the other hand, we have underutilized resources in the private sector. Secondly, India, with its young population and growing economy, will face many age-related diseases and lifestyle diseases, which will come as a challenge both for treatment and rehabilitation. Thirdly, there is unequal access to care, with 70% of India's doctors working in urban India, where only 30% of Indians live. We have to make the medical profession more attractive for students to join, as many students are intimidated with the long-term commitment required and the lack of postgraduate training opportunities. India has some of the world's finest pharmaceutical and vaccine manufacturers. We should attain the same in medical device manufacturing so that we can provide affordable healthcare to all. Our brilliant IT personnel can help transform healthcare delivery using artificial intelligence and smart devices. As Dennis Waitley said, time and health are two precious assets that we don't recognize and appreciate until they've been depleted. So let us significantly increase government funding and make our pharmaceutical, biomedical, and information technology and medical institutions work together to provide the best healthcare for all our citizens. Because don't you think we deserve nothing but the very best? Thank you.
Hello everyone, I, Mehal Mukul from KIT International School, Bhubaneswar, feel extremely proud to talk about the topic Inside the Ring, Boxing and the Great Indian Knockout. As Mark Twain once said, India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of history, the grandmother of legends, and the great-grandmother of tradition. India has a sports history dating back thousands of years ago. Ancient Indian texts acknowledge the presence of archery, wrestling, and boxing. Boxing, with its long association with the Olympics, is one of the most popular sports in the world. India has been involved in the amateur boxing community since the 1920s. In 1925, the biggest governing body for the boxing in India, Bombay Presidency Amateur Boxing Federation, was formed in Mumbai. The first Indian boxer to get the Olympic medal was Vijayender Singh. He got a bronze medal in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Women's boxing was introduced to the Olympics in London 2012, where MC Mary Kom brought home another bronze medal, which was the second Olympic medal for Indian boxing. Lavlina Borghain brought home the third Olympic medal for Indian boxing. India has also created history in the Asian Games and the Commonwealth Games, with legendary boxers like Sundar Rao, Shivaji Bhosle, and Pinky Rani winning many medals. A vision is not just a picture of what could be. It is an appeal to our better selves. But a vision without action is merely just a dream. Our boxers are now world beaters and history makers, and yet a strong visionary is needed to continue magic. The World Boxing Council has recently announced that the formation of its Indian committee is starting. It's offering a pathway for domestic championship success and gives Indian players significant global opportunities. In these tough times, when the world is battling COVID-19, the Boxing Federation of India has started online classes, and it is the first federation to do so in India. Olympic boxers like Vijayender Singh and MC Mary Kom have hopped onto the brigade, and they have promised to develop Indian boxing to the next level. I, as a teenager, pray and hope that India rules the boxing committee, and I believe in equal respect in every sports category. And I hope that boxing will become a part of the curriculum from the school level. With proper training and strategy, the name of our country will resound worldwide. Long live Indian boxing and long live India. Jai Hind!
A German physician published a book called The Population Bomb in 1968, which began with the lines, "The battle to feed all of humanity is over." In the 1970s, hundreds of millions of people will starve to death. Ehrlich was a big supporter of India's family planning programs. I don't see how India could possibly feed 200 million more people by 1980, he said. The economist Julian Simon pointed out in 1981 book that through history, whenever there has been a spurt in population, there coincided with a spurt in productivity. When we speak of resources, we forget that we human beings are the finest of all. We interact with each other. There is no limit of our ingenuity. We interact with each other in on positive some ways. Every voluntary interaction leaves both people better off, and the amount of value in this world goes up, said Julian Simon in his book The Ultimate Resources. Population increase or decrease can be natural process. Making it as strength or weakness is the work of society as well as the government. If a country is unaware of the major production process, it may look to blame on increasing population. Coordinating the factors of production to the optimum level is the work of entrepreneurs, and guiding them and pulling them in the proper place is the work of government. Thank you.